No, I mean, like, and to be honest, it's not. That's not how this Michigan team I just talked about. It's not their style of play to even if MSU was struggling in the secondary. Our style of play is not conducive to exposing that. It's just we're not going to take a lot of shots to see if we can win. We're going to run the football. That's what we're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I wish, man. I wish I could say, man, that's an opening, right? Maybe we can expose that, and if we had more of a balanced style of offense, then I can use that as a potential advantage. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think we're going to be who we're going to be, especially like this point in the season. Harbaugh, once he establishes a particular style, he doesn't really wane from it, and also you got to consider what's on the line, the high stakes for this game. Harbaugh, and we're probably going to this. MSU is playing with house money. They
Mm-hmm.
were not expected to be here.
Yeah,
Then that's no
preseason they
diss.
were four wins, I think, is what they were projected to have
Yes,
this year.
look, it- there's no negative besides hearing Michigan, fans gloat a little bit to losing this game. But even so, like, they could still go in the last 10 years. I'm pretty sure MSU may have the edge over us. I think that if you counted the Antonio years, maybe the last 15. So I mean, it's really not a negative besides annoyance from MSU losing this game. For Michigan, there's a ton to lose, man. Because if you think about it, we given Harbaugh credit that he deserves for turning this program around compared to how they were last year, right? Last year was terrible, even in the midst of COVID and everything that went along with that. But there was question marks if he was going to be, extended, and it's a terrible loss to MSU. And they come to this year. I had 5-7, 6-6 tops, and they also had a low win prediction. And here they are 7-0. And so you give Harbaugh credit for that. But if he loses Saturday, and that would probably put them on a trajectory to be 10-2 at best, most likely, right? It will be another reminder of throughout the ebbs and flows of Harbaugh's tenure in Michigan, the low of the lows, the high of the highs. The highest we've ever been is 10 wins and third place in the Big Ten. No matter how that season went, seasons in which we won 10 in a row, seasons in which we're going to the last game of the year and we're ranked third in the country, right? With everything in front of us, and somehow we still finish third place. What's the joke that me and you used to do for years, Des? Third place Jimmy,
Third
right?
place Jimmy. Yeah.
Right. It will be that all over again. And it will feel to me, and I can't speak for everyone, but it will feel to me like, oh my God, same thing. Like, and this is in the midst of all these perceived changes that Harbaugh's tried to this evolution, right? That Harbaugh's tried to do, right? At first, when his first few years at Michigan, they were averaging around 10 wins a season. But we start to talk about, and I think they finally noticed that style of play, the pro style, especially on the offense style play, will limit you in the bigger games, right? You will only get to a certain point, but you won't be able to get past Ohio State or Penn State or MSU to really win something, win the Big Ten, get to the college football playoff. And so he tried to change things, right? He went and hired Gaddis. They went more to a spread style offense, right? Eventually, Don Brown's gone, right? Now they have Mike McDonald, right? Now we're 3-4. So we've done all these changes, right, to try to raise the level of the program, and yet we will still finish as good as we've always been. Think about how crushing that is, right? And there's just so, and also this is year 2 for Mel Tucker. Like, you cannot lose to a guy who's just really getting he's basically using band-aids on his program, bringing in a whole bunch of transfer portal guys, trying to find guys everywhere, right? He really doesn't have a lot of his own recruits there yet, and yet you're going to be 0-2.
Yeah, don't look down, Dre.
Well, okay, and you've been 7 games into your own program. Like, there's a lot at stake here, man. There's a lot at stake.
The interesting part is the different perceptions you can have after this game for really both coaches, and the different perceptions you could have. Like, for instance, like you had mentioned, Dre, if Michigan were to lose the game, you know, the thought and the feeling of, man, this is basically just what, you know, this is peak Harbaugh, is we're probably going to get to 10 wins and, you know, we're going to lose Ohio, you know, it's going to look the same. But if he wins the game, how different that perception and trajectory of the season too, because you look at Penn State, they just lost to Illinois, which, you know, however you want to paint it, Illinois is not a very good football team, and Penn State lost there. So it would be, you'd be hard pressed to be a Michigan fan to not look at that game and say, I would feel pretty good going into that game, much better than before the season started when you looked at it. And then really you're just looking at the Ohio State game of, man, if we could just take care of business there, and and really when you look at it, it's almost house money going in Ohio State. And what I mean by that is, I think no matter what, you probably have a really good shot to get in the playoff if that's your only loss. Like, so you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many different ways that it can go depending on the result of the game. Man, it could be something pretty interesting.